Warning. Everybody Has a Podcast is a comedy podcast. The personalities and opinions expressed in this show are highly exaggerated and don't always reflect reality. If you're easily offended, this may not be the podcast for you. Let's switch gears here, guys, and try to get on our next guest. Darren and Graham from the Grimerica show have decided to sit down with us. The Grimerica show, if you haven't heard it, really cool. Long-form interviews from a lot of interesting guests, and they cover everything. Ufology, psychedelics, just folklore, really neat subjects. You can find them grimerica.ca because they're from Canada A. And let's see, twitter.com/Grimerica. Darren and Graham, thanks a lot for joining us, guys.
Anytime. We're happy to be here.
Yeah, it's great to meet you guys.
Did I miss anything there?
No, I think that about sums up our existence.
I wish I had 2 sentences to say about myself.
One of you has the voice of an angel, by the way.
Is it
I
Graham?
think you both have a voice of an angel.
I'm telling you that Charlotte Church holds no candle to your wind.
Oh, my God.
Celine Dion, I think, is a reference they might get more, Billy.
Oh. Well, it depends on what province they're from.
Apparently, we don't have an accent, though.
Hey?
I can hear it. Do you hear our Texas accent? Do we have a Texas accent that we don't hear?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, a little slang never
I
hurt.
have a gun in my hand right now just to fulfill that stereotype.
Guys, I'll tell you what. There have been a lot of interesting interviews on your show. I'll tell you the one I really liked, though, is Joe Bullard, Waiting for Agnes, the Coral Castle in Florida. Crazy.
Yeah, you like that one, eh?
That was super entertaining. I think I was stuck in rush hour for, like 2 hours that day, and it didn't even matter because I was just sucked in. It was crazy.
Yeah, I like Joe Bullard. I wonder how he's making out with his cross-country quests there. We were supposed to hook up with him for.
Yeah.
He was going to come by and pay you guys a visit?
He was talking about it, and then he wanted to follow in the footsteps of Ed Leedskelman, and he was going to check in, and we were going to record it all. And
yeah, we're going to do a recording live with him traveling across the country.
Nice. What? Let's see. So that episode in particular. So the Coral Castle is in Florida, and it's just a series of giant stones, a castle made out of stones, right? That supposedly this guy just built himself. Is that right?
Yeah, he cut the coral into all the shapes and into workable cubes and everything, and built a castle single-handedly. I think the heaviest one was 30 tons.
And no one knows how he was able to put that together all by himself with no machinery.
Well, of course, there's a bunch of theories. The scientific guys have their theory, and then there's people that say that, there was some sort of sound levitation or some sort of tomfoolery going on.
Sure.
I saw that. People were saying that the guy was using some kind of cone instrument. Is that correct?
Some sort of weird magnet thing. I think it was like a rotary, almost like a record player of magnets, and then he had some little weird box that was always up on top of this tripod.
Like the back of an old hard drive?
Yeah, exactly.
What gave you guys, we're seeing a lot of podcasts pop up, and ironically, that's why we kind of decided to name our show what we named it, Everybody Has a Podcast. What gave you guys the idea to do a podcast? I know you've had your own experiences. What gave you the itch?
My itch is to be able to freely communicate and talk about all this stuff, right? I want to get into more meditation and some spiritual stuff too. So for me, I want to be, talking about the stuff in an open and free environment, I guess.
Kind of give you an excuse to jump into the deep end and really just get into it.
And an excuse just to pick these people's brains. I mean, most of them won't just chat with you for an hour or two if you just call them up. But if you have a podcast that people are listening to, they're more than willing to hop on and spread the word. And you kind of get to ask your own questions as opposed to listening to other shows. You always kind of have those questions in the back of your mind that never get asked.
Well, it seems like every interview that you hear that's not your own, obviously, with somebody that you feel as though is really important, always has these same boxed questions that are always so what got you interested in UFOs in the first place? God damn it, I've heard this 40 times.
I know.
You want me to describe the anal probe to you?
Yeah.
So basically my first question to these guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. This is different, though. See, this is different because it's the genesis of a podcast. But Darren and I have this discussion all the time. I always say to Darren, I go, let's not go to the history thing. Let's ask him what's new right away. But then it kind of seems odd because, you're going to, talk about something that people may not understand. So there's a kind of a trick of getting enough information out there without going like back to the history that's been said 40 times.
Sure.
Well, yeah, if I want to hear that, I can Wikipedia it. Like, I want to hear new information. I want to hear something that I can't immediately Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you need to have the kind of laid back, anything goes, fucking casual format in order to. I think it kind of opens it up a little bit, makes our guests feel a little more comfortable, and kind of get the only in Grimerica angle on with a lot of these guys.
How much do you guys do your people talk about like the abduction scenario?
Not much, actually. We haven't really gone there too deep. I mean, I'd like to. Grant Cameron brought it up a little bit, and there's probably some other, ufologists that have talked about it, but it hasn't been on the radar too much.
The interesting part of that to me, and I want to get your guys' take on it, is how it's always seems to be very sexual. Like the abductions always seem to go to a sexual angle. Do you think that speaks to more of the human psychology, to where we feel vulnerable in that state, or do you think, in your opinion, your theory, do you think there's actually like experiments and things going on like that?
As with a lot of my answers, I think it's a bit of everything. Like, I think there's some parallels to the incubus and succubus type stuff, and the kind of old school sexual kind of paralysis or nightmare type stuff. I also think that there's something else going on, right? Could be black projects in the government or true extraterrestrials, but something else is obviously going on, and I'm not claiming I have the answer, but I think it's a bit of everything.
I know, let's see, Graham, I know in particular I've heard you mention a few of your experiences. You've seen what you've described as a UFO. Do you guys care to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, man, I'm looking for the people that I saw that with right now because I want to talk to them about it on the podcast. I want to see how my memory varies from theirs, because I have a crystal clear memory of a craft flying through the air in Tel Aviv, and it was shaped like a dodecahedron, kind of a polygonal shaped craft that was split in half, and the halves were moving slowly against themselves, like rotating in opposite directions, and the whole thing was slowly rotating on its axis.
Oh, man.
Was that the one that was filmed very publicly? I know that they had a Tel Aviv UFO that got a lot of press play.
No, this was back in 1990.
That's how old Graham is.
Yeah, 91. And there was people that I was with, they saw it twice. I saw it once, so it was a multiple sighting, multiple witness type thing.
So before then, were you open to this, or what was that like seeing that?
Yeah, I was open to it. I was open to it already, and I kind of had a slight interest in UFOs. But when I saw it, I was absolutely fixated on it, like staring at it, going like burning it into my mind. Like, and the thing that happened that's interesting and which brings consciousness into it is when I saw them seeing their reaction to what they were seeing, and I ran across this rooftop to where my friends were seeing this thing, and they tried to explain it to me, and I was upset, obviously, because I didn't see it. So I looked up and I said, please come back, I want to see you. And then I spotted it again, and I said, is that it? And they're like, yeah, that's the same thing.
Wow.
So yeah, it was burned into my memory pretty solidly there, or what I think it was. I mean, I'd really like to hear what they saw.
It seems like nobody's kind of like in the middle camp of like, well, maybe there is something out there. People are pretty much like, oh, there's definitely something out there, or there's nothing out there. How do you, I guess, convert these people whenever you say, hey, in Tel Aviv, 1990, shit went down, I saw all this. Do you get that look of like, okay? Because even the people that believe, whenever you start talking about your own experience, even people that believe in UFOs are kind of like, what's wrong with you? Like, how do you push it home for people and say, okay, this guy saw something?
I don't know. I don't think I get that reaction from a lot of people. A lot of people
Really?
usually hear me out. They can seem disinterested, but they don't really look at me like with that crazy look in their eyes, going, "You lunatic."
Yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's not even your job to convince them. It's like whatever, they can take it in or not.
Well, they are Canadian, Ryan. Canadians are very trustworthy.
It's true.
Yeah, I think there actually might be something to it. We've got a lot less. We're a lot less religious of a country, I think, and a little more open-minded to this sort of thing. I think people are just generally more accepting of fucked up shit in Canada than in the States.
If we want to bail on the States, where do we need to go up north? Where in Canada do we need to reside?
Calgary is where all the work is.
That's where all the money is.
I tell you,
Alberta.
Does that mean I have to become a Flames fan? Because I don't think I can do that.
Go Flames.
We can't compete in an open job market like that. Like
Jerome McGillin ruined it for me. I can't be a Flames fan.
how is
Still a sore spot.
Sorry to bring it up.
how is doing your show? Has it changed or altered your beliefs at all? I mean, obviously you've been able to talk to a lot of people since you've started. Has it changed you at all? I know, like Joe Rogan did a run on his sci-fi show, and now he doesn't believe anything, because he's like, I was able to talk to a lot of these people. He's like, most of them are crazy. What are your thoughts on all that?
He picked the wrong people.
Yeah,
I find it suspect of who he actually talked to about a lot of that stuff, especially UFOs. So,
well, it's a government. I mean, and I'm not. This is going to sound like I'm joking or I'm being sarcastic, but I'm not, because I am the conspiracy guy here, especially when it comes to government. I firmly believe that the government or some agency, somebody is dictating. Okay, Joe, you're going to go talk to these people. And you're not going to talk to the people that actually have insight and facts and are credible. You're going to go talk to Billy Bob in his trailer.
Why has it got to be Billy Bob?
Well, because I'm sorry, Billy.
I mean, really. But no, I think too, kind of what you guys are saying. I agree with it, because I think it's a show, right? So you have a producer, like we were talking about earlier about podcasts. A lot of these shows, rabbit ears reality shows, they have producers. So the more insane or less credible the people are, the more entertaining it is. It's going to be like watching a train wreck, other than watching people that are actually talking the truth.
Well, it's kind of like, yeah. I mean,
is a huge part of it too, I think.
Well, what do you do whenever you actually prove that UFOs exist? Like, that's the end of the show. Like, we're done.
Well, I mean, I see it two ways, too. I see that they're trying to get eyeballs on the show. The people that are interested in this phenomenon are going to watch it regardless. Now, we may watch it and be disgusted over the people that they're interviewing, but we're going to watch it. Now, the people that are the staunch skeptic that want to make fun of those people, that's the audience they're trying to pull. And when they interview these people that are just, not credible and borderline insane, those people watch this show so they can say, see what I'm talking about? That guy's batshit crazy,
Actually, for me, this interviewing all the guests and everything has affected me more, I think, on a spiritual level than on anything esoteric or things like that. I've been more caught up in talking about consciousness and different theories on, evolution or our history, and all that has really started. It's almost changed, because I wasn't a total atheist coming into the show, but I was definitely a lot more atheistic than I am now. I've opened up a lot of different possibilities that a year and a half ago I probably wouldn't be considering.
I like that, because you think instantly, people think like, well, if you're going to go to science, or attack this stuff or have these types of conversations, it's going to make you less religious, but you found that it has made you quite the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't subscribe to any religions or anything like that, but I'm definitely
more spiritual.
I'm more spiritual than I was when I started out, and that's still evolving to this day.
So this kind of leads me to another question I was kind of dying to ask you guys. Ancient Aliens is a pretty big show right now on History Channel, and I understand it's a produced show, so it's not obviously all fact. A lot of it is hyperbole to get viewers, but have you guys seen that, and what are your thoughts on the ancient alien theory, if you could share with us a little bit?
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Ancient Aliens is kind of what started me. I started watching that shit on TV, and I used to be interested in a lot of this esoteric stuff back when I was a kid. But when I started watching Ancient Aliens, it kind of peaked it all up for me. And it was actually, we went to Minnesota in 2012 to go to the Paradigm Symposium, because Tsoukalos and Von Daniken and everybody were there. So we went there, and that was kind of the genesis. That played a part in the role of Grimerica even coming together, that festival. So we met, not festival, convention or symposium. But
you made it a festival, buddy.
Yeah, I made it a festival. Sure.
Is
a bit of a
are you sure
bit of a
Suclos's hair did not make it a festival? Is he spiking it up there?
Oh, he was spiking it up. I got to know Suclos quite well while we were there. We threw down a couple of times.
Oh, really? You care to elaborate on that?
No.
No, not too much.
Well, like on your spirituality statement, I want to go back to that real quick because, like, I do so. I more than the average, even American. I think I subscribe a little bit to religion, a little bit more than a lot of people do. But my whole thing is like, if there's an interdimensional alien species that has the ability scientifically to create and destroy life and consciousness through scientific means, doesn't that make them God anyways? Like, what's the fucking difference? That's just the spirituality part is really cool to me because it opens up all these doors where technology and aliens and religion can all still mix together and it all makes sense still.
Yeah, but then if you go with that, then that means that when we can eventually produce life, which probably isn't going to be that long, are we going to be gods? Because I don't think we're in any fucking shape to be.
Simulation theory. You guys had a show on that as well, didn't you?
Yeah, that actually is still one that could be pretty possible, I think.
I think, too, as we progress as a society, we've always put a certain dogma on science. I think anytime science challenges modern-day religion, regardless of what it is, whether you're talking about the Sumerians or the Babylonians or obviously Christians, and as we progress in Islam, I think anytime you start challenging the core belief system, there's a certain amount of dogma assigned to that, and then obviously you're like the Earth is flat kind of a thing. If you go against the grain, you're considered a heretic until proven otherwise. So I honestly think it's ingrained in us as humans to be the staunch skeptic to a point of almost ignorance.
Yeah, actually, one religion, like the Catholic Church, seems to be the most open to change. Like they've slowly starting to let the cat out of the bag that they're going to be cool with, whatever goes
aliens.
down.
Yeah, the last pope officially.
It's necessity, though, isn't it? It's not necessarily that they want to be. It's that, like, hey, we might discover aliens really fucking soon if we haven't already. And I think
exactly.
I think if we have knowledge of aliens, the Catholic Church already knows.
Well, and I think too they're willing to risk anything to help Notre Dame win another championship.
I think for anything to last, 2,000 years, you need to be pretty open to evolving with the times.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
400 years ago, if you didn't fucking believe in the right God, they'd just fucking throw you in with some lions or something.
Well, and the gentleman that helped kind of evolve the Big Bang Theory was actually a Catholic priest. True story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
TV show?
Let's burn that motherfucker at the stake.
Yeah,
but his theory obviously was it actually explained a divine intervention, not disproved it.
Well, I am religious, but the theory of evolution, the Big Bang, like these are pretty much laid out and they exist. These are things that happened.
Yeah.
And that doesn't, I know, I'm kind of like justifying my own religious beliefs rather than just letting them go and just accepting the scientific part of it all. But like, it doesn't disprove anything. And I don't know if you guys caught the debate between like the Bill Nye and the creationist guy, but like I felt like that was a really false debate because like it made you feel as though you had to choose a side, and really you could do both. You could say like God or aliens or whatever created the starting of an evolutionary whatever. And I don't know. I feel like that was a really false debate. I know that's not entirely within your realm, but it seems like it all kind of ties in for me.
Yeah, well, I think, a lot of people think that that's even what Jesus was talking about. It all just got, taken the wrong way and out of context, and here we are. And he was just kind of saying, he was a son of God, like we're all sons of God. We're all fucking stardust, creations of the universe, and we must be here for some reason or another. It all started somehow, you would think, unless it's, we're all just in the mainframe in Idaho thinking we're alive.
Yeah, just believe whatever you want to believe. As long as you're not Hindu, I'm cool.
We're running on running on potato servers.
What are some topics that you guys have not had a chance to cover yet that you want to, or anything that you really want to talk about you haven't gotten to yet?
Meditation, for sure. Sasquatch, that's another one. Cryptids. We're going to have John Perkins coming up from Confessions of an Economic Hitman. So we're going to go into like the global financial crap again.
Oh man,
Cool.
putting some targets in your backs there. I like it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting. I've been emailing someone like a physicist like Michio Kaku or something like that. But they're people like that are really, they look at our guest lists and see that we did an episode on fucking mushrooms, and they don't want to come anywhere near. So we've kind of might have branded ourselves away from a few of those, but I'm gonna keep trying.
That's a conversation we have ourselves, actually. To the listeners who don't have a podcast, one thing that we've kind of to the simple people, we've kind of been amazed at how nice just most people were if we just shot them an email, right? And they will do an interview. People you would think would never talk to you. Has that been y'all's experience traditionally?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I can't complain at all about the start. I mean, it couldn't really have been any better. Like it's really going better than we could have expected.
Yeah, exactly. It was even in the beginning when we had no back catalog or anything to show anybody. Those are the guests that you really gotta thank for coming out, because you notice as we get our kind of sea legs going and get an episode backlog and an audience, you start more and more guests are a lot easier to book, I guess.
But yeah, people start coming to you too.
But even in the beginning, I don't think we only had out of our first 15 guests, there was maybe 2 people that said no.
Yeah, well, I know that
said yes.
I know that we had issues early on where we got really tired of trying to cue the people from Celebrity Rehab. That got old pretty quick.
And then we only asked Dr. Drew over and over and over again.
Yeah, you wave a little bag in front of their face, man. They'll be.
We want the guy from Greece that's just minutes from death. Get him on the air quick.
Part of what you never had is gone and can't be taken back. Maybe you